I am live, 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 live. Okay, I need more light. Ah, I'm not at home. Ah, no. Okay, maybe. Hopefully, that gives me a little bit more light. Ooh, don't like these chairs. It doesn't. It doesn't sound good when a chair is cracking underneath your backside. Ah, not exactly. Not exactly a light little girl either. So, hmm. Hello and welcome. Welcome, everybody. Let's go. Ah, let's see what else is going on. Let's do. Woo, let's go just live. There we go. I'm live. Let's see who comes in. It is a Scorpio full moon, right? And hi. And the energies are quite interesting, you know, with this full moon. And so, welcome, welcome. Hello. I should have made myself a coffee before I did this. I'm at my daughter's house. I'm house sitting the dog. I'm house sitting and watching the dog for the weekend. So, um, kind of, I just got here, just getting myself settled. And I'm like, no, I got to do this. I got to get on here. I got to talk about this moon because I really feel like it's way I'm feeling is like I'm between a rock and a hard place, right? On where to go, what to do, and creating the next step or what moving into the next step. That's the whole energy field that I'm picking up right now. And yeah, it's again, it is one of those pushing you to get you to move, right? So this full moon, it's not here, um it's not a gentle hand. Like it's not a gentle hand to hand you like a cup of tea kind of thing. This is kind of like it's the nail in the coffin. The door is closing, the table's resetting. We've got the full moon at 11 degrees. This moon's sitting on my sun, and it's opposite the sun in Taurus. So Uranus now is freshly, in Gemini. Squaring Mars squaring Jupiter, and every planet still direct. Pluto slowing down. Yes, it's going to be going retrograde next week. And you cannot pretend the old life still has value when your soul already knows it's dead. So it's cutting the cords, it's telling the truth, it's stop decorating the coffin kind of thing. This is where you got to know your worth and you got to stop settling for crumbs off the top shelf, right? You just want to take a little bit of here. It's just like, no, this energy is like, whew, it's pushing. It's pushing you and it's getting you to really activate what needs to be activated. Now, in saying that too, it's not I think we have to be curious and learn, connect. We got to utilize the tools that we do have. And it's changing our environment, changing your mind. And this is why, I mean, Uranus and Gemini, yeah, you're going to find that a lot. A lot of things will change. A lot of ideas, what you thought would go a certain way, aren't going to go the way you exactly want it to go. And this is why I keep saying astrology is not some cute little side hobby anymore. We're in a whole new world. And I feel AI astrology is here. I know quite, and there are astrologers out there saying, "Oh yeah, AI can't." Oh yeah, it can. I have tested it. I know astrologers who utilize the and have made apps with it, and it's great. And adding the human design in there for me, sometimes it's like wow, it brings it to making sense, right? And your chart, your patterns, your timing, it can map in ways people 2 years ago said didn't exist. I think that's very positive. I mean, when they started to put, and I can't remember the astrologer's name, he never really got full credit, but he started to put um, charts online, and having your chart, instead of hand drawing your chart, it would do it online, like it would do it on the computer. And people are like, no, you can't do that, that's so wrong. But it ended up taking, when he was doing that and putting all the information into the computer. And that's the whole thing, it's like it takes time in when they're doing it, like on the back end. It's just not like throwing something up there, but there's a lot of work on the back end with the AI, and inputting all the information, so it can look at the charts, it can look at the different information, and even look at how it can chart out things that are coming up, like different aspects and transits that are coming forward in your chart, to give you sort of a heads up, a lot faster than, say, a person can. And I don't feel like it's taken away from an astrologer. I don't think it's taken away from even the readers. I think it's enhancing what it is that you can utilize. This is an enhancement. And some people might disagree with me. It's like, oh, too much. You're not thinking for yourself. I find when I am using my AI and training my AI, and training it, meaning that you correct it when it's wrong, that when it gives you certain information, saying, no, that's not the way I want it, this is the way I want it, that's part of the training of your AI. I feel like it's like it especially for me, who's a projector, it saves me so much time. It helps me to keep things more organized, and it helps me to create my thoughts, because I can get, my thoughts can get so jumbled, right? And when it gets too much, then I freeze, and then I don't do anything. And so this helps me to really put things more into perspective, to get things done. um and many of you have used it for doing, like, helping me out with my logo, getting the information, putting the different. And I find it's such a great tool to be used. And that's the whole thing, it is a great tool to be used. It is even helping me to organize with clients on things that are going on with client. Like if I'm working or mentoring, it helps to put together a package for that person, so that package is specific for that person. Because I'm beginning to offer 6-month packages at different levels, right? And some of those packages are going to start off at $500, and they're going to go up to over $1,000. These packages are ones to help you to work and really put into use tools that you can utilize in your day-to-day living. That's what I'm mentoring. I'm mentoring in order to give you tools, in order for you to do the steps you need to, in order to create the abundance, to work with the money, to work with your own spirituality, with your relationships. I find that giving people the steps that they need, and implementing them into their life, is very, very important. It's not like, and we were talking about that last night in the Diamond and Dragon workshop, where people will, yeah, I can meditate and I feel so great, and I'm in this great meditative state and in this wonderful world, and then, but you got to step out of it, right? And she's like, but I just want that world. So bringing you tools so that that meditative world can be a part of your world. How can you bring that into your world? How can you bring that into your life? That's part of my mentorships. It's part of what I am starting to implement, and devising specific um, needs for you, right? And I find that it's not just like a one shop fits all kind of thing, because I don't believe it does. I feel like, especially when you are, you know, being an intuitive like I am, a psychic, I feel like everybody, the information doesn't come out the same way for everybody else. I have people with charts that are very similar, but what they're going through are totally different. How they are reacting to situations is totally different than someone else. So there's a lot of different factors that come in to, not only reading the chart, but also putting together a mentorship program. So I feel like there's something there. And if, I don't know what's happening in my chart. Um, and the tools are here. And I feel like there are tools there if you're not sure what is happening, and or booking in, and we go through your chart and bring in more of the details for you, because this is what I feel is happening. Um, just say based on. So I feel like there's just something more here for us to be doing with it. And here we go. Now I know who else is here. Nobody. It's just you and me, Sherry. It's just you and me. So if I took, let's say, your chart, right? I'm a triple. You're a triple Scorpio. Woohoo! God bless you. Um, just let me see. Okay, I'll just say, oh, why? So if I take, because I already have it, I won't post it up here, because when I look at a chart, I look at where that moon is hitting, where this full moon is hitting. And I know you already got your full moon. So let me get back here. I should know your chart off by heart. You know that? And I just did your full moon reading too, which is kind of funny. Um, so we look at Sherry's chart, and I'm not going to post Sherry's chart online, right? Um, but looking at her chart, she's a double Gemini, and she has a Pisces moon. So this energy for her, I feel like, just looking at it and looking at the energies, it's her 6th and her 12th house, the energy coming in. So we look at a lot of things to do with routine, what's going on with her routine, what's happening. And the moon coming in here could make her feel very anxious. So there could be a lot of anxiety. She has her Uranus is retrograde in Scorpio. So this is like, okay, there's some anxiety, and it can actually shift and change. And then with the Uranus entering into her 12th house too, this brings in a lot of, I feel like a lot of dynamic changes, but wanting to ground it and wanting to put it in, because she has the stellium in Taurus, and wanting to communicate that out in some way, but yet make it real, wanting to make it real. And with that Chiron in there, what are my fears of the past that are going to hinder me from going forward into this new reality, into this new world? And with this full moon, it's like opening up. I think that there's a lot of opening up of new routines, new structure, new ways of doing how you want to structure your life. And it's like, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's like starting to do those little baby steps of, okay, this is my new routine, or this is something I really want to start to do. So I could take, like, maybe you want to, stop drinking milk or something. I'm going to go for oat and almond milk or something like that. So I'm going to do those little tiny changes in order for me to become more into a routine that is more harmonious within my energy, being in the dumps for a bit. And this is like doing, it's those little steps, but sometimes it feels like you're like being, I got like a Clydesdale. Well, Clydesdales can be very very beautiful, but very clumpy. Feeling like it's a lot, like there's a lot of energy that's coming in, there's a lot that is unfolding for you at this time. And it can feel, because there's been so much that has overwhelmed you in the past year or two, that now making those switches, it's almost like you um so can second guess yourself with all of it, a hesitation, who's going to condemn me, who's going to say something. And that energy, especially with being in the sixth house, it's like you really, it's like you want to do the grind. But when we look up to where the sun is in Taurus, right, Taurus wants you to connect, get out, communicate, not push so hard, allow yourself to feel that freedom, and not so much get into too much of the grindy stuff, right? You have to do dishwasher after a week. So it's like getting yourself in, like, into something that, and I feel like it's brighter, it's more there for you. And it can be exhausting. It can be exhausting, you know. I mean, for somebody who's a triple Scorpio, I mean, that's a lot of energy. I mean, your sun, moon, and rising. So you're looking at your first and 12th house. And so the opposition too is like looking at her fifth and or her sixth and seventh house. So relationships. So when I look at Kelly's, I don't know her whole chart. I don't have her chart, but just by the energies, right? And that Taurus energy wanting to come in, looking at, okay, yeah, now we have to look at it's sort of opposite to Sherry. So it's like, no, now you have to look at what are those things that I have to ground into, what are those structures that I have to put together, and not go off into the deep end and go off into I'm gonna the Delulu energy, right? And it's very, especially with so much energy in Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio. I have a lot of energy in Scorpio. I have a lot of, I mean, I have a huge stellium there. This is really looking at, I not having to get stuck in the whole routine. This is where for me, I have to get out there and connect and look at those little connections. For Kelly, I feel it's like more grounding and putting those into a structured base. And where the Scorpio mind might say, oh, well, I'll do that later on. I know what I'm doing. I can go with it. I can go by the seat of my pants. I'm going to be all fine. But there's something there that I feel like there's a structure there that has to come in, a day-to-day structure. And that's going to help you to utilize, especially the downloads that you're receiving right now, Kelly, that you're able to implement them into your day-to-day world and how that day-to-day world looks for you. And I feel that's important, so you don't get too much going on, especially with it hitting the full moon, the sun, the moon hitting your moon and your sun and your AC. It can get very overwhelming. It can come into very high anxiety energy as well, because becomes very internal with the internal energies. So you got to look at what do I need to ground this out? What do I need to really utilize for day-to-day living and connect? And who am I connecting with? Who are the people around me that I need to connect? That's an important piece as well. It is where sometimes, and I say with the, like, I didn't use AI to do this. This is just me looking, but how AI, if you ever wanted to use it and stuff, I know that there are different, like, Hypergate AI and stuff that's out there that you can plug your information in there and it can sort of guide you in different ways with the aspects that are going on within your chart. And this energy, I feel it's like, especially with the Taurus energy, Taurus has to do with the values, with your money, health routines. All of that comes in with this full moon. And it's like, how do I deal with my health? How do I deal with my mental well-being, my spiritual well-being, and how does that affect my money? Because money becomes a huge aspect within this moon, and that's an area that a lot of times people don't want to talk about. But Taurus is about money, right? It's my money, and the structure of how that is put into use into your regular and day-to-day life. So yeah, this, I feel like this moon, for both, I mean, well, for everybody, but for the two that are here, is very transformational for the both of you. I feel like there's just so much that is bringing in this new highways of utilizing, where you, one, don't get too much into crazy details and go and your mind goes off to scattering, where I feel for the other ones, it's like, okay, no, I got to put in some basic structures into what do I need to do. And it's not that you have to do the whole list, but it's like looking at what are the first things I need to do? What's the one thing I need to do each and every day? And that's going to help me to create my abundance, create what my values, the relationships that are important to me. And look at what those things, what's important to you at this time. So do you actually, and the other part is like, do you actually value yourself or not? Because if you did, you wouldn't be holding on to things that drain you. So you got to look at what are the things that drain you. If something feels off, feels forced, feels like you're outgrowing it, this full moon is going to expose it. So if there's something in your life that you're still hanging on to that just doesn't feel right, that it's just like, oh my God, I got to do this. This is just overloading on my nervous system. It's like, okay, I need to release this, right? And you won't still be holding on to things that drain you. And I mean things that like negatively drain people. We all have to clean the house. We all have to empty the dishwasher. We all have to do our day-to-day stuff, right? And because we want a clean house, we want to eat off clean dishes, we want a clean bathroom. Those types of things are I things that we need to be doing each and every day. If you're unable to do those things, then we take another step back and start looking at what else is going on. What are the other things that are hindering you from doing those things? And that's where we go into and we look at, okay, I can take the chart, look into it and say, okay, where is there a mental stress here or mental fatigue? Where is the frustration here that's going on for that type of draining to happen into your life? Because when we're unable to do day-to-day living, then we know that there's something else there that's not snapping, not correctly moving. And it could be that, okay, maybe you need to get out more. Maybe you need some more vitamin D. Maybe you need some magnesium. Maybe you need to start drinking nettle tea. Nettle tea is absolutely fabulous for women. Same with red raspberry tea leaf. I was just telling my daughter that because she needs to up her iron. I'm like, the best way is nettle tea. Nettle tea is the best way to up your iron, right? Because it's loaded with irons, it's easy, and it's absorbent. It has everything in there to help it to absorb into your body, and it just helps with to giving back that vitality. So a lot of times that I'm alone a lot these days, so it makes me sad. Yeah, and you're a Gemini. You being alone is not a good thing. So that's why I that's why you stick in relationships sometimes that are not healthy, because of the fact that you don't want to be alone. And being alone can be very hindering for you. So when you look at your attachments, and that comes down to um just hold on here. You know what? I'm Anybody who's on my Instagram, go over to my YouTube. Love ya. And now, here we go. Okay. So anything that is happening, let me see. what I can do here. Hold on. My mind's going 100 miles an hour. There we go. What I'm going to do. So I'm just looking at your chart just a little bit deeper than, um, because there is in your chart, there is a strong signature of emotional heaviness and isolation patterns showing up. And as I look at it, because with the Pisces moon natal, deeply sensitive, absorbs everything. And this could be, that's where you get emotional overwhelmness, escapism tendencies, and feeling alone, even when not physically alone. So there is a lot of with a fight, it withdraws, it drifts. So you have this Pisces moon, that water energy, really, we like to isolate ourselves. We don't always like to be around people. Where for you it's, and then you have that Gemini energy that wants to be out there, wants to connect, wants to be out there. But there's this influence of heaviness and loneliness related to your Saturn that's coming in here. So it's the feeling of what's the point, emotional fatigue. I feel there's an isolation even if people are around. So the Neptune influence is the fog, confusion, and there's a bit of disconnection there. This is can be depression, avoidance, and feeling lost or ungrounded. So Saturn and Neptune, I feel heavy and I don't know how to get out of it. So with this 12th house in the inner world activation, you can, we can naturally lean inwards, and the processing everything internally, not always reaching out, needing, that's the solitude. But when imbalanced, isolation becomes a trap instead of healing. And this is where it doesn't it's not just that you're alone, it it doesn't know how to come out of being alone. That's the difference. Pisces moon, this transit can create, I'll just stay here, no one really gets me anyways, it's easier not to engage. And this is where what's actually needed, and this is where, you know what I do is that it's not a big solution, it's not pressure, but to gently re-enter into life. This is where you can, like, I just want to know I'm thinking about you. I feel like you're being carrying a lot quietly lately, and you don't have to do anything big, but even just a small step out of your space or a little connection might help you shift things, and that's really important, because you've gone through such a dramatic change within your life in the last year, and the move and everything else. This is bringing in where you can feel very isolated and very overwhelmed with things at this time. And you're a bridge. This is where you don't carry, you don't have to carry your emotional weight. It's just to open the door, to shine a light, and to invite you out. And it's not that you're broken. You are not broken. You're in a deep emotional fog cycle. And it the connection is the medicine. It has to feel safe, gentle, and not overwhelming. And I feel like that's very important for you, especially when you were in such a long, tumultuous type of relationship for so long. You know, So, and I feel like, because I think it's been about a year now, of this. This is where you've had long-term difficulty in unhealthy relationships. So emotional instability, control, inconsistency, feeling unseen or not valid. And, we're, I think, almost a year from that. This is where the crash after survival mode. And I think even with the move and everything, you've been in survival mode. And this is where you had, even though you were in a very painful relationship, it had purpose, and you were reacting and fixing and managing, and now the nervous system goes, now what? Right? And it often drops into exhaustion, depression, and emptiness, because you've been wired to some sort of purpose, whether it's, you know being as painful as it was. And the loneliness hits different after that kind of relationship. It's that you're not just alone, you're alone without an identity that you had before. And it feels like, who am I now? What do I do with myself? Why do I feel flat? You know? And with the Pisces moon and the history, it's the emotional drifting. So instead of rebuilding quickly, you're moving, you stay in your inner world, you romanticize the past even if it was bad, avoid re-engaging with life. So it can be, there's a danger here, and it's not dramatic, it's subtle. It's, like staying home more, not reaching out, low energy, I'm fine but not really. That's functional depression. And I think that's what you're doing right now. I'm not a doctor, I'm just spewing off here, and I don't give diagnosis or anything like this. So allegedly, I feel like it's more of a functional depression that you are in. And this is where you actually, what you need in the real medicine is not move on. You're better off pushing her, to fix things. This is where I feel it's a gentle reconnection to yourself, who you are without the relationship. Um, what do you like? Like, this is where you come, with low pressure, no expectations, consistent presence. This is because right now you feel like maybe too much open space, not enough grounding. And this moon is just, it'll really amplify it. Definitely, it'll show you. And I think I've been thinking, I feel like after everything that you went through this past year might actually be a part where it all lands. And sometimes it can feel heavier than the relationship itself. And you don't have to figure anything out right now, but you also don't have to sit in it alone. Right. So I'm here. Yeah, I know you have some really good friends. They're there as well. So to lift it don't try and lift out of it. Don't overwhelm, I don't want to overwhelm you with a bunch of solutions or anything like that. Um, and this is where I feel like there's, um, you're not going to pull out of this. I'm not just going to pull you out quickly out of this, but this is where I feel like the loneliness surfacing, identity rebuilding, and emotional recovery is still going on. Right. So, on my family to save myself. It's been tough. Yeah. I mean, it's a new identity. Going camping this weekend, absolutely fabulous. Definitely grounding, reconnection there. Right. And having that reconnection is to nature is very important. And that's a big one. Um in doing that, that's an emotional weight. That's a lot. It's grief and it's guilt, identity loss all at once. And when a woman has to walk away from a relationship and her family to save herself, there's a deep internal split. One on one side, I had to do this, survival, self-preservation. On the other hand, did I abandon them? Guilt, shame, and questioning yourself. And because you didn't just lose a partner, you lost a role, like a wife, partner, um, that mother part too in the structure, your daily life, your sense of belonging. And now you're sitting in it. I saved myself, but what did it cost me? And people around you might think you are out, you should feel better, but it's like I'm out and now I have to live with everything I left behind. And your Pisces moon is feeling the loss deeply, carrying emotional responsibility that isn't all yours. You replay memories, struggle to anchor in the present. So, not advice, not fixing, but you didn't give up your family. You made a decision to save yourself when it mattered most. And I know that doesn't make it easier, but it doesn't make you wrong either. So, what you actually, give you permission to grieve, even if it was even if it was the right choice. Validation without judgment, right? You need to feel seen and not misunderstood. And not overwhelmed, just I'm here, constant presence. You know, this is where from the old life to gone, new life not fully formed yet. So it's going to take a little bit. And with the emptiness, depression, loneliness, you're in a rebuilding phase. And it's like because you've rebounded in the past from other things so quickly, and this time you're not, right? So you don't have to carry it, all on your own. Just don't let you disappear into it alone. Like I just don't want you to, this is a sacred territory right now, and you're handling it with a lot of heart. And you got to understand that that's what you're doing at this time. So there you go. So you are going through a lot, and there is a total rebuild. And this is where too the day-to-day things that you have to look at of, what are my connections, knowing that I still have my family, still have my kids. My kids are still around. I'm still involved with them and doing things, with them. And that's an important piece to look at as well. So there you go. A lot. I know this energy is a lot. I know there's a lot happening at this time for everybody, but we're stepping into a path that is uncharted, a path that really wants to create something new. So, yeah, there we go. There we go. You know what? I think that's a lot for this stream that we just did. So, go and enjoy your weekend, Sherry. And I'm going to enjoy my weekend here at the house and take it easy. Take it one step at a time. And sending you out so much love. May the Lord and Lady um, watch over and bless you and all that you say and all you be and all you do. Thank you. Like and subscribe, share it out, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye bye.